Hello folks, Why Guy here again. Welcome to my home on this very beautiful spring day. The name of this video is called The Why Guy Ugly. Now that's an interesting title, and I capitalized the word ugly for a different reason other than the fact that it's part of a title, to be technical. You know, this video is going to be kind of along the lines of more of an English lesson and how it applies to Scripture. I'm going to combine those two in this video. And because, see, I've tried my best. Well, first off, let me back up. I don't like English. You know, I speak the language, but English was the worst subject for me growing up and going through school. My favorite was history. And I think I've kind of proven that through my videos and the 3 books that I've written, because I love history. It's neat. It's neat to learn of how people thought and to use your imagination and put yourself in their shoes, you know, and because people are people, folks. And anyway, the reason I did this video is because if I were to write that you're ugly and then capitalize it, if I were to put that in a sentence of, hey, so-and-so is ugly, and then put that in a sentence and then capitalize it, would ugly then represent your name? Okay, bear with me, because there's a point here I'm trying to make, all right? Would I just say, hi, ugly? How's it hanging? You know, or is the last name, hi, Mr. or Mrs. Ugly? I mean, does that apply? Has anyone ever encountered my ugly the way I did it in this context? That kind of scenario? Has anyone ever experienced that kind of scenario in society or in literature? You know, I don't think so. All right, the rules of the English language and common sense and the smallest amount of education tells us that the word ugly is an adjective that describes something or someone. So am I wrong? Again, I don't think so. So by simply capitalizing on the word ugly, does it all of a sudden make it into a proper noun? Is that how it's supposed to work in rules, you know? No. Then why have we accepted how religion has precisely done that with the word Satan? Now, some might be thinking, oh, come on, man, you're dragging a dead horse through the mud. Haven't you done enough videos about that word, Why Guy? You know, I've gotten so much flack from sharing the actual cultural and historical history. Like I said, historical history, that is a redundant statement. Anyway, how I've shared so much of English language and the culture of the people, the Jewish people who actually came up with the word Satan, all right? Ha-Satan in their language, or how we would pronounce it. Anyhow, and you know, I've received so much flack. So, it's so odd, is people want to hold on to stuff, you know, just completely ignoring the facts because their mind's already made up. They've been brainwashed into thinking one way, and they've been thinking that way their whole life. So I'm just trying to come around through the back door with this video, because I've done videos on the history and the culture and all that kind of stuff and the origins of the word and all that. So I'm going to try to do one in a different way of using the rules of the history of the English language, okay? So not only is the average Christian involved with paganism and superstitions, but they don't seem to know the difference between a common noun and a proper noun and how it works. So the important thing to remember is that common nouns are general names. There's a difference, follow me. Thus they are not capitalized unless they begin a sentence or are part of a title, like in the Why Guy Ugly. Then it's capitalized, okay? So how this applies to the word Satan will be explained by a secular college professor that I'm going to quote at the end of this video, all right? So let's define adjective real quick. Quote, a word or a phrase naming an attribute. Got to remember that word attribute. Added to or grammatically related to a noun to modify or describe it. All right, close quote. According to this definition here, is the word Satan describing an attribute? Let's find out. Or not, okay? So, but what's the definition of an attribute? See, we got to go there first. quote, regard something as being caused by someone or something. All right? Close quote. So where are you going with this? Why, God, you know, somebody might be thinking, well, the ancient Hebrew language didn't use caps in any of their stuff. So how are we to know? So why is the Hebrew, since they didn't use caps, so when printing the Bible or translating or doing whatever and canonizing it, why is the Hebrew word Satan capitalized in every Bible passage where it appears, considering it's only a word naming an attribute? Follow me, just like an adjective does. So what are the attributes that the word Satan is naming? We've got to ask that using the rules. I hope if I got these rules wrong, I apologize, but this is just how I see it, okay? Here's the answer. Being adversarial or accusational shouldn't be a surprise, since the Hebrew word Satan means adversary or accuser, which are both nouns anyway. So by using the word Satan, you're relating it to a noun to modify or describe it, him or her, which happens to be the definition of an adjective. Now, did any of that make sense? I hope so. Like I said, I'm trying to approach this topic in a different sort of way. So follow me. I'm about halfway through. Now, here's an example of how I believe Satan is describing an attribute. And here's a Bible example. Okay? When Jesus turned to Peter and called him Satan, ha-satan, Peter is the noun. Obviously, okay, that the word Satan was used to modify and or describe Peter's actions. Yet the word Satan is still not considered an adjective in modern English, even though it fits the bill of an adjective perfectly. But I want to go back just a little bit here, because something just popped into my mind. Because I did mention that the Hebrew language, they don't capitalize. And it really, there's got to be a reason why all of a sudden the word Satan is capitalized and not all of their words were. Why was that one word picked out? Okay? Out of the Hebrew language when they translated and produced Bibles. Why was that one word capitalized, since none of the other ones were? Okay? Anyway, follow me. It is my strong opinion that due to centuries of changes in languages, the word Satan would have been deemed as an adjective by the ancient Hebrew writers if they understood the rules of the English language. Now, that's just my opinion. I wasn't there. I don't have a time machine. I can't prove my point, but it's just an opinion. So the word Satan was not another name for Peter, nor a name for an invisible entity either, folks, but a description of an adversary. Peter was adverse to the plan that Jesus had about going to the cross, okay? So Jesus also called, here's a little sarcastic humor, okay? Jesus also called Peter a stumbling block in the same verse. So why isn't the term stumbling block capitalized as well, since Satan was? All right? And it's all within the same context, same verse. So, hey, stumbling block, the stumbling block made me do it. You know, you never hear anything like that, or that guy's possessed by an agent of the stumbling block. See, that wouldn't make sense. Yet the perverted use of the word Satan makes complete sense to those who have been brainwashed into believing that. All right. So I challenge anyone to research the Hebrew language about the word Satan and try to prove me wrong about this. I double dog darn dare you. I really do. And close to closing, it seems as if every secular college professor of philosophy knows something that the vast majority of Bible college professors do not know. And that is a complete shame, folks. We need to be on top of our game. We do. So that the secular world doesn't look at us like complete total idiots. Here's a quote from Dr. Tom Kearns of North Seattle Community College, titled Ha-satan, the Adversary. Quote, "Who is Satan? Is he the devil, the source of all temptation and evil, who shows up later in the Judeo-Christian tradition? In the book of Job, the answer to that question is no. Hasatan is the Hebrew phrase to be translated here, and the most literal translation is the adversary. Adversary in this context is a courtroom metaphor and refers to the advocate on the other side of the argument, i.e. the prosecution or the defense, depending on which side we are looking from. The Hebrew ha is simply the definite article, the, in English. Hasatan is thus a common noun, not a proper noun. It is not someone's name, as in George or Harriet. Nor is it, for an example, especially in these early books of the Hebrew Scriptures, the person, Satan, the evil being who is the source of all evil and temptation, close quote. Now, you see, this guy did his homework, okay? This professor did his homework. This secular professor did his homework. Teaching in a public college, folks. So, you know, and your pastors came out of Bible colleges that teach the exact opposite. It's worth looking into, all right? Just simply using the rules of the English language. And anyway, look me up on Facebook under a group called the Why Guy Group, and I have an avatar name, and that's a private group, by the way. I have an avatar name of Jonathan Jones. Consider giving me a thumbs up, thumbs down on this video. If you are going to leave comments and disagreement, please make sure they're polite, or else I'll delete them. And consider also supporting this channel with either Patreon or Coffee. And I'm going to leave 3 links to my book, 3 different links to Amazon, actually, for my book, my 3 books. And also I have a website under the name of thatwhyguy.com. So consider looking me up on any one of those things. And hope this made sense. Thank you for viewing.